Harakwani, gentlemen. First of all, I want to thank you for taking the time just to share a few words. As you know, we've heard some conversation along the wire, some of the family out west saying that they had some dialogue with, I guess, with some of the Wampanoag elders around this area who are claiming that they don't know who the Pokanokets are and don't know who you gentlemen are. And of course, we know that's just not truthful. So we just wanted to take some time for you to share a little bit about your specific bloodlines, their relationship with the other Wampanoag tribes that are around here, and particularly in terms of them getting their federal recognition, because we know some of your family members were heavily involved in that. And we just want to set the record straight because there's been a lot of misconceptions, and we know that the history of the East is very, very hidden. So whatever we can do to share that and share the truth and dispel any rumors or negativity, that's what we're here for. So I'll turn it over to you, and if y'all wouldn't mind just introducing yourselves, we can get right into it.
My name is Kuehi, Kuehi, Eneh, Auttch. I was given my name 1,163 moons ago in Charleston, Narragansett. My godmother was Princess Redwing of the Seven Crescents, and my godfather was Carl Wilcox, but they called him Uncle Harry. It is recorded that when I received my name was the first time and the only time in the history of the tribe that the governor of the state of Rhode Island came and paid homage to the four natives to get their names.
Very good.
That governor was Governor Theodore Francis Green, right, who later became the longest serving senator in the state of Rhode Island. My name is Wauipi, Neimpaug, and I am Sagamore of the Pokanoket Tribe of the Pokanoket Nation. We come from a long line of chiefs. My great-grandfather was 10th generation Massasoit Osamequin. My 9th generation great-grandfather was King Philip. My 6th generation grandfather was Simeon Simon, who was the Continental Soldier, George Washington's hand-picked bodyguard, and as noted in the Historical Society, a full-blooded Wampanoag who received a pension from the United States government and was also on the coin, bicentennial coin of the town of Griswold, Connecticut, alongside of George Washington riding horseback with the seal of Griswold on the other side. He is also in the picture of George Washington crossing the Delaware. There's an Indian on the back of the boat. There's a hand servant who was black. George Washington's hand servant was black, but Simeon Simons was on the back of the boat, and you can recognize him by his gear or regalia that he wore. I come from a line of chiefs, and of course, you know, years ago when my family attended those powwows, and I'm going back to the 40s and the 50s, 30s, 20s, we were known by all the people down there because the Simon Weed line was one of the strongest lines here in New England. No one questioned who our parents were. It's just these young people today that are doing this here because they don't know their history. If you look at the Massasoit's father, his father was Mika, or Maxano, who was a Narragansett chief. And that chief was the son of Kananika's first wife. The Massasoit's mother was King Ninigret's daughter. So his father was Narragansett, his mother was Niantic. We can go on in this line. The Massasoit married the queen of his Neimpaugs, and that was Nanawanhat's daughter of the Quabog Nipmuc Nation. From there, we can go on our father's side. My father's side is Elderkin line, which is that Seacock tribe, you know, out in Seacock, Mass. Mm-hmm. And they come from Anawan. Mary Clagberg was Anawan's great-granddaughter, and this is my father's line. So my mother and my father come from the same
Nation and tribe.
Tribe and nation. All right, Anawan was a head Painisi warrior for the Massasoit Osamequin who welcomed the Pilgrims to this country, and he was also the head Painisi warrior for his son, King Philip, and he was in his 80s when they killed him. That was King Philip's uncle, Anawan. So for people to sit there and not know the history of this country, because we were known as the Pokanoket Nation, the Pokanoket Confederation. And if you look at any history before the King Philip War, you will find that the word Wampanoag is not recorded anywhere in the first 50 years of encounters with the European. We were known as Pokanoket. Every map prior to the King Philip War says right on it, Pokanoket country or King Philip country. Can we cut that one?
No, that's fine. So let me ask this. We've been hearing that a number of Wampanoag elders have been speaking to family out west, saying that they're not quite sure who you are. We know that there are a number of Wampanoag tribes in Massachusetts. Could you just share some of your family's relationship with helping a lot of those tribes get federal recognition and things of that nature?
We'd love to do that. First of all, let's straighten out that word Wampanoag, and this is why we've taken the word Pokanoket back, because that's the name the Europeans gave us. The Wampanoag, word Wampanoag was given to us during the King Philip War, 1675, 1676, when the colonial government made it illegal for you to say that you were Pokanoket. If you were male 14 years of age or older and you said you were Pokanoket, they could kill you on sight. So if you look at the history, the Massachusetts Archaeological Society, they'll tell you that they never even heard of the word the first 50 years of encounters with the European. As far as the Wampanoag that are saying this here, my family, some of the people that are in those tribes are my first cousin's family.
Well, could you share some of the names of the individuals?
Well, some of the names would be Torloak. Torloak is my first cousin.
Torloak Whedon?
Torloak Whedon is my mother's brother's, or my mother's younger brother's child. So Torloak is my first cousin. And incidentally, Torloak went to his first powwow. It was my older sister that took him to his first powwow back in the 50s. So, I mean, he was a teenager. We, on the other hand, you'll have pictures of me as a baby at the August meetings, because that was, for us, that was like a family reunion. It was. And we all met there at the powwows. As far as the Wampanoag is concerned, that's a word, that's a term that was reserved for the Indians that fought on the side of King Philip during the King Philip War. So if you take the Mashpees, for instance, they ran to the Cape to hide from the King Philip War. But there weren't any Mashpee tribe per se during the King Philip War. They took on that name because they were in the town of Mashpee in 1834. If you search your history before that, there was a reservation there. There were whites, blacks, Cape Verde. There was all kind of people on the reservation. But until 1834, they did not call themselves Mashpee. If you want to talk about the Peters line and that tribe, it was my mother's first cousin, Princess Red Wing, that named Slow Turtle. All right, and they're aware of this here. I remember one time when Peters came up to us and he said, well, gee, I don't know who you are. And I showed him a picture of his mother with his sister Ramona, must have been about 5 years old, and with all my brother, my cousin Jimmy's kid, Torloak was in that picture, and he said, where'd you get this? He said, that's my mother, you know? And so basically, he went back to that tribe and said, oh yeah, we know who they are. But they haven't told the truth because they've been trying to steal our history. We are the tribe, the Pokanoket tribe, and all you gotta do is punch in Pokanoket. I don't understand why these tribes out west would say something like that, because of these young bucks that are going around here making statements that they don't even know what they're talking about. They never taught them the history because they try to make themselves look more important than what they are. But they are what you call people that try to rewrite history, and they can't do that because the history has already been recorded, and it was our family line. It was our family line that was there. As far as the even in Narragansett, Red Wing over there, I know there's a lot of hostility behind that, but she more or less helped to put that tribe together. She put the Mashpee tribe together with Evening Star and the chief at that time, and it was my great aunt Hannah and my great aunt Jane that taught them people the culture. And now we're going back in the 20s and 30s here. You know what I'm saying? And so a lot of these new kids out there, they don't know this history, but we know who we are. And they made it perfectly clear to us who we were growing up. But not only that, the government knows who we are, and that's why we're doing what we're doing, because they can't stop it, because they've done this federal recognition thing as a means of splitting the tribes. And what we are doing is trying to take care of all the tribes, because we are the tribes of the treaties. There were no federally recognized tribes when them treaties came out, which said that all the air rights and the land rights and oil rights and timber rights and belong to the Indians. We still have all of those rights. And so basically, why can't we share with our people? You know, it's greed. Money has turned their head, and basically they are blinded by it, and they haven't reached back to help their fellow American Indian. But in that regards, I do not want to be federally recognized. That was never my intention. I am provided for under the protection of the United States Constitution of the United States of America for the common people. And this is where we're coming from. They come under the Constitution for the people of the commercial law. When they gave them federal recognition, they took away their Aboriginal land, their Aboriginal rights, and they made them just like any other citizen in the United States. And that's why Elizabeth Warren can say she's a Native American, because yes, she was born in this country, and you don't have to be Indian to be a Native American. And this is what these people don't understand. We are claiming our rights, and when I sent this information, they knew who my family was, and ever since that day, they've been tapping my phone, and they've been intercepting my email, and I'll let you know what this federal government is doing, because it's happening, and they can't stop it.
Katapatish, gentlemen, any last words before we close out?
Hold on 1 second before.
Okay.
Hold that up a minute.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's only funny we all have to go through our adversity, and our adversity was told to us by the Queen of the Rappahannock, who came here in 2015 and blessed our land down in the swamp. They blessed the swamp. They also blessed up at the sea. And it was only funny because I got a call from Skywolf, who's the leader of Arise America, which represents 395 Christian nation churches throughout the United States. And he said, we got our land back. They got part of their land back in the end of January, I think was the beginning of this, what have you, last year. And he called me, he said, you're going to get yours back. And that's what we're doing, because God has chosen us because of who we are. The circle is being complete.
And I just like, just like to straighten out a little bit of information here, because even in Narragansett have turned on a woman that has done so much for that tribe, and her name was Princess Redwing of the Seven Crescent. Yeah, yes, she was Niantic, and she was Narragansett, but she was Pokanoket. She's from Osamequin's line. And here in her biography, and this was done by the Journal Bulletin, they talk about in 1934, Narragansett leaders sought Redwing's help to draft the tribe's bylaws, which were mandated by the Indian Reorganization Act. She later designed the tribe seal, which is still used on official stationery. She was their historian, and she had a lot to do with that tribe getting federal recognition. They're trying to tear down everything she's done. She's recognized by the United States government, and any check that she received from them said on it the Seven Crescents. So that's who we are. We're known. This government knows who we are. They've taken the history and they tried to hide it from us. Even in the Brown archives,
John Carter Brown
library, some of the information that was passed down to us orally was obtained by a person doing a thesis for her doctorate, and she was allowed access to that library. Have you ever been in the John Brown library? You need to press buttons to get in there, and people will escort you to your seat. They'll ask you what you want. They'll turn the pages for you with white gloves, but you're not touching anything. And if they think you've been there too long, they'll kick you out. The information that I just gave you about our people being, when they beheaded Philip here and putting our people on a reservation up in the Chatucket Connecticut, and they had the Reverend Fitch was the overseer over him, and then they took Fitch away and they put Auttch over him, and that's how our people ended up in the Griswold, Preston, New London area of Connecticut. Basically, the lady that was doing the research, she had access to that John Brown library, and she turned around and told these people here at the Heifer Rapper, those people are who they say they are, because no one else had access to that information, and I found it there.
Chief, Powwas, Katapatush for your time, and family out there, just set the record straight. So look, there's no faking going on around here. If you're Indian, if you're a real Indian, if your people are warriors, then all you should be doing is supporting and sharing this, because all we're doing is standing up for indigenous rights here.
All over the world.
All over the world. This is for everyone. This isn't just for us. This isn't about taking anything from anyone else. This is about setting the record straight and getting things back the way that they're supposed to be, the way they were before all of this nonsense happened. So, Katapatush. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. What's your right?
I didn't say anything about Peters not being